But more excited. Yeah, right.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join Commissioner Kirchner in a prayer.
Okay, let's get ourselves in a prayerful mood here. The Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom in our deliberations and doing what's best for those we represent. We ask in a special way, as always, that you protect those who are protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen.
Roll call.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Here.
Commissioner Peterson?
Here. I'll accept a motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from September 19th.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. Any adjustments?
No.
Okay. We have guests. So I would like to have our representative from the Fostoria Economic Development Corporation
Great.
give us an update. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Just wanted to come in today and give everybody kind of an update on what's happening in Fostoria. Give me over here.
You can get recorded, and your smiling face will be on.
That's my goal. That's my goal. So as far as Fostoria, we've had a couple good wins so far this year. We had Custom Glass Solutions, which currently has an operation in Wyandotte County. They located a new facility in Fostoria. That's 90 new jobs. They're actively filling those positions now. And they took over about 140,000 square feet on Jones Road in Fostoria. The rest of that facility has now actually been filled by Whirlpool, and that is over 500,000 square feet. So that's a sizable building. And Custom Glass, they do the windshields for a lot of your agricultural equipment and your RVs, larger industrial pieces of machinery. NSI Crankshaft also did a big expansion this year, $12 million expansion. They're adding 33 new jobs, also actively hiring. We know we have a new acquisition and expansion project that will be completed by the end of the year. We're calling it Project Noodle. I do not name these projects, I swear. So that is ongoing, but we should have an announcement about that by December 31st.
Who does name the project?
The state of Ohio does
Oh, I
if they're
see.
involved,
Okay.
yes, yes. So blame them.
Sure,
we-
okay.
yeah.
We'll blame them.
We also just completed the shell space of 100,000 square foot spec building in Fostoria. It's located on 42 acres on the corner of State Route 12 and Weaver Road. That is going to be the site of our new industrial park in Fostoria because our existing one is full. So we are generating a lot of interest with that. In my perfect world, we have an announcement definitely by the end of the first quarter of 2020, sooner if at all possible.
So tell me how you funded that 100,000 square foot.
Well, when we did our first spec building, we funded it as an organization. Because we sold it so quickly, we convinced somebody else to fund this one.
Okay.
So this one is actually being built by Ohio Logistics 4. So Chuck Bills has been actively involved in putting this building up.
So the private sector, it's a public-private sector partnership.
Partnership,
Okay, very
yes,
good. Good.
yes. So those are some of the key things I wanted to mention from a project standpoint. We are also working with several companies on expansions they're planning in 2020. So that ball is already rolling. If you haven't been to Fostoria lately, I would encourage you to drive down County Line. It has been completely repaved for the first time in I can't tell you how long. It is fantastic. And it's led to some commercial development as well with the opening of Dunkin' 2 weeks ago and renovations at McDonald's and Wendy's, and we have some other work in the pipeline there. Much like Tiffin, we did a housing assessment and those results are in. They say that right now we need about 300 additional housing units in the city of Fostoria, and in the next 3 years they are estimating we will need at least 588 additional housing units in the city of Fostoria. So this is
Tell
obviously.
us what type of units they're talking about now. Are they talking about single family? Are they talking about apartments? Are they talking about condos?
We looked at apartments, condos, senior living, and single family. So it's kind of a combination of all of the above. So with those kind of numbers, obviously, we're delving pretty deeply into the housing world and talking to several developers and trying to get creative in some of the things that we do. So we're working on that. And we obviously still work heavily with the land bank, and we do most of the grants writing for the city of Fostoria. And so those are ongoing. The other big thing I wanted to talk to this group about is we recently relocated our offices. So we are now located in the Fostoria Learning Center at 342 Perry Street. We will not be staying for your meeting today because we actually have furniture being delivered right now. We've got people handling it in the short term, but we need to get back there. But with that move, we have also, as Fostoria Economic Development, taken over the general operations of the Fostoria Learning Center. We are seeing more and more that workforce development and economic development, they're hand in hand. Any company that you talk to, their biggest issue is workforce. And so we felt that this was a logical move for us, and it allows us to increase our bandwidth. So we're very excited about it, and actually had some strategic planning meetings, meeting with some companies and our partners, and I think next year we're gonna have some pretty unique things coming out of the Learning Center. So you'll probably be hearing about those in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So the only other thing I wanted to highlight today is, I know Seneca County has their jobs Facebook page. We also have a Jobs Fostoria campaign that we started about 3 years ago. We just released, starting in May, a 4-part video series on agribusiness, medical, mid-sized manufacturing, and construction and trades. Those, since June 1st, have reached over 500,000 people, have watched those videos and reacted to them in some fashion, and those continue to climb. And through that page, the biggest issue we heard was people didn't know where to look for jobs. So we are posting, and our HR professionals are posting anywhere from 150 to 200 jobs a month on that Facebook page. And so people, it's become a one-stop shop for people looking for employment opportunities.
Oh, is hours linked to years and years linked to hours?
We share
Okay.
information, yes.
Good.
But it's just a tremendous partnership, and I think it's really helped a lot of citizens in the county and direct them to available positions, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. So I just wanted to throw those numbers out there to you as well. But those are just some of the highlights from 2019 thus far. I will be back probably end of the year, first part of next year, to give you real quantifiable numbers on investment dollars, new jobs, things like that. But wanted to keep you apprised of some of the big things that are happening.
Perfect.
We'll await the announcement of Project Noodle.
Noodle. Super exciting.
Right, it's gonna be a ramen factory.
And you were hoping for spaghetti, and
Yeah, I
since
know.
you've gone to Japan, you're on to ramen.
I would have taken that.
All right. We also have Michelle Cochran from
Good morning.
Fostoria, what do we call it? Area Visitors Bureau.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this morning. The Fostoria Area Visitors Bureau was operating as a subcommittee of the Fostoria Area Chamber of Commerce until August of 2017, when we became a standalone 501c3 organization. And that's been instrumental in a lot of different ways. In addition to a portion of the motel bed tax that's collected by the city of Fostoria, the Visitors Bureau does appreciate receiving $6,000 per year from Seneca County bed tax. This funding is beneficial and instrumental in funding our Visitors Bureau activities, as well as a grant program that we initiated for Fostoria's tourism attractions. That's how we help divvy out the money in a nice, fair way for our attractions. The categories for our tourism grant program include advertising, new events, established events, and then we also have a board discretionary grant program. Most of the grants do have a 50% matching requirement, and then we're happy to help supplement the activities of the organizations who encourage visitors to Fostoria and the surrounding area in this way. Another portion of our budget is allocated for advertising to promote Fostoria collectively. In 2017, we started advertising in the official State of Ohio Tourism Guide and the calendar of event publications, along with some other regional publications. In 2018, we looked at the numbers and we saw a 25% increase in the local bed tax money coming into the Visitors Bureau. So I'd like to think that our efforts did have something to do with this increase in funding. So we're really looking forward to, the end of the year and seeing how it compares and see if our efforts are making a difference. The Fostoria Area Visitors Bureau has been working to bring new and different to Fostoria with several projects that are geared toward improving the community image and the quality of life, while also giving visitors larger and bolder artwork to view while traveling through our community. And the handout packet that I've given you to look through does show some of these initiatives that we've been working on over the last several years.
Actually,
Yes.
pass it around so people can see this art.
Yes, this is our sculpture tour. Okay, one of our goals is to grow the barn quilt trail through our area. This is a trend that is definitely growing across the country. You'll see them displayed all over the country and actually in other countries as well, and did start in Ohio, so we're happy to help grow that. So last year we hosted 2 very successful barn quilt painting workshops with nationally known expert Susan Perrin. And this concept has grown with community members this past year. We have a local couple who are giving their own workshops. People are doing custom painting of them. And then just so we could make a nice visible push to lend support to this trend, we also recently commissioned the Barn Quilts on Main as a community barn quilt display on our main street. There are 32 different barn quilt designs that are part of this permanent display. And Destination Seneca County is helping to promote this display as they encourage the formation of the Seneca County Bicentennial Barn Quilt Trail to celebrate Seneca County's bicentennial in 2024. So we're happy to help get that started in Fostoria and move it on through the county. The Barn Quilts on Main help to expand the ever-growing presence of artwork in our downtown corridor. This is the second year that Fostoria is a host community for a year-long Midwest Sculpture Initiative outdoor display. We've had 8 new sculptures come in each year. Last year, 2 of the sculptures were purchased, so we received a commission on that to help bring in this year's display, and we're certainly hopeful to bring it back again. We do have several other sculptures that are in our community permanently, so we're just helping to grow that and see it continue. 3 new murals have been painted in Fostoria over each of the last 3 years. And this year, the Fostoria Tree and Beautification Committee unveiled painted floral banners that hang along Main Street. So, of course, Fostoria does continue to draw visitors for our glass and rail routes, but we are pleased to also use artwork as a tool for community beautification, offering another unique reason for people to visit Fostoria. So we'd love to have you all come over and take a look at our new artwork. We have self-guided tours that you can download on your app, an app on your phone, and so just something we're really excited about. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it today.
Yeah, this art thing is, you guys are really onto something with this.
Something
this is,
big, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really fascinating. And what I was impressed with, and if I got the facts wrong, correct me, but so you rent it for a year,
For the sculptures?
the sculptures, right?
Right, there's a stipend that we pay, yes, and they're on display
And then
for a
they're
year.
there.
Uh-huh.
And some people were so moved by some of this artwork that they dug into their own wallet, bought them
Yes.
to leave them there for the public to
Right,
enjoy.
we have a private collector that bought one for their own display, and then we have one that is right next to our library. We had someone bought it as a memorial to his father. It was a very strong person
That's
in our
cool.
community.
That's really
So, yeah, and that was in our first year, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, there's some real compelling. The Iron Triangle is a great place to visit. The art. Now the banners, as I understand it, somebody locally
Yes,
designed them and painted them.
yes, someone on our Fostoria Garden Club is an artist,
That's
and she hand painted them. They printed them on banners, and then we're selling small replicas of them at our farmers markets, so people can put them in their own home gardens as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot of talent that we're trying to unearth and make, get people involved. And we're seeing more and more of that happening, and we're, leveraging it to create art in our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you're onto something there. I really like that idea.
The townships are working with regional planning as well to create barn art as well. I don't know where they're at in the process, but that came
Right.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's been very, strong in Hancock County. We work with the Hancock County person and, we wanted to bring it through into Fostoria. Of course, we're a 3-county city, so, having it come through Seneca County now is fantastic.
Any questions for FEDC or Visitors Bureau?
You moved as well, right?
Yes.
So who's
Yes.
all in? Who moved, just for the record?
It's the Learning Center, it's the Chamber, it's Economic Development, it's the Visitors Bureau, and it's the Greater Fostoria Community Foundation.
So, yeah, the chamber and the foundation are not present, but all four of you got it. Great. Thank you.
All right. You guys are, go receive your furniture.
Thank you.
Very positive report.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Administrative reports.
Just a couple things. We had a budget commission yesterday, and just wanted to give an update that, as you remember, at the beginning of the year, they had estimated 17.8 for our projections for 2019. With some reductions, they've got our estimated revenue down to 17.3. Reduction in, sheriff's revenue for the ICE program, and, for some equipment we thought we were getting paid into the general fund, which ended up being just a capital improvement equipment fund. So just wanted to update you. That was just yesterday.
But fear not, I believe it'll be closer to 18 than 17.3. Yes.
Where's
Like
the
to be
stock market
conservative.
going to end? Have you?
I have no
Yeah. Lottery
This
tickets.
is based on more knowledge than that, yes.
Also budgets, I've got my sheets done, ready to send out. I'm gonna send those out tomorrow. I'm gonna ask for them to be back, October 18th. And we're still on track to passing our budgets hopefully by November 21st. In my letter, just saying that, anybody has any changes or requests or have any concerns with any long-term capital improvements, to please call, schedule a meeting with us. We'll be happy to schedule meetings any time of the day, because I know there was a couple, departments that can't attend on Thursdays now, so we would be happy to schedule board meetings on other days to accommodate through this budget
Yes.
process. So hopefully we can stay on schedule with that. Budget Commission did say that they will actually certify us a number by the time we pass our budgets. Usually they give us an estimated number and then pass it usually December, once they get all sales tax in through December. This year they said they wanted to make sure they gave us a certified number. So hopefully that'll come true, and we'll be ahead of schedule, or our new schedule, I should say.
Right.
Let me just add a couple things to that before
Sure.
you get to the next topic. 17.3 is what the projection is. We don't know yet what income we're gonna have from the pipelines. The pipeline money is gonna be significantly higher than it was. It's whatever was in use a year prior, so whatever they were using as of December of 18, we will get that money sometime before the end of the year. Estimates are somewhere between 300,000 and 500,000, so we'll see where that comes in at. We also, for those of you that have been here quite often, know that we've got some Medicaid money that we put aside that we're not using for operating money. And if necessary, we can move some of that to reach the 17.8 number that we have been certified with as of the beginning of the year. So we will make income numbers, and we will be able to cover everything that's out there. The question is, that you have to be concerned about is core earnings. What are we able to generate as a county in earnings versus core expenses? What are the actual expenses? Because some of these things are previous year expenses that are now put into this budget, or income that was from another calendar year that shows up with carryovers and those kind of things. And there's some question as to how the debits and credits ought to work. But our main concern as a board is to make certain that we generate enough money in earnings throughout the year to take care of core expenses. And that's what the concentration is on. And also, if those of you that have been here know that we want to take any excess as much as possible and put it in a budget stabilization rainy day fund. We want to continue to focus on that if we have that money available.
And we will get, Land Bank said they will get our advance, the $300,000 advance paid yet this year. They're actually, I think Paul said yesterday, gonna be receiving at least $529,000. 300 comes to the general fund to pay the advance. The other large advance we have out there is for Wolf Creek. Project's done. Assessments are gonna go next year. So that advance will be paid back periodically, because some of the citizens have been given 5 years to pay back the loan or the assessments, so those will come back in over the next 5 years. And we will get some revenue back from the 911 fund, because there again, we fronted the money for that project because we had the ability, so they will be paying that over 5 years as well. So some revenues that come in that we don't necessarily anticipate, but they will be in our.
In our, I'm gonna call it rainy day fund, we have 500,000, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what's in there right now.
Yep.
Okay.
It's only been in place a year.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Started January.
The other thing I have, the Tiverton Seneca Public Library brought our journal number 3 back, so it is up and live on the website. They have taken journal number 4, so they will be scanning that for us, getting it live. I can
Is that
link.
1824 or something?
Volume number 4 is from August of 1862 to 1871. Journal 4.
Civil War.
Yeah,
So,
it's some interesting times.
They have done book 1, 2, and 3 for us now, and it is on the state website. So, kind of excited that we're going to number 4. Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I had.
All right, commissioner reports.
Nothing? Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to steal any of Audrey's thunder, because I assume you're gonna speak later. But, okay, one of the things, I went to the Tiverton Seneca Economic Partnership meeting here, and the recurring theme, when we talked about Japan, the skills gap, Renee mentioned it today, that, they have concern about filling positions, workforce development. I think that it's important to continue to focus on having those people that potentially will be entering the workforce, high school kids at this point, have the proper skills to fill these jobs that are out there. And that doesn't necessarily mean a college degree, but it means some technical skills that will fill these jobs. Based on what's gone on yesterday, there are now in Seneca County 22 projects that are active, and there have been 45 for the year according to Nick. So there is still a lot of activity. So the pipeline is full and things are happening. Audrey, maybe at some point you want to bring us up to date on some of the county stuff you talked about yesterday, because that's important to us. Whatever the chair wants to have her speak.
Whatever you want.
Good. I've got a couple things. Our friends at North Central Education Service Center are promoting Walk to School Day on October 2nd. And we have a proclamation to support that effort. And it talks about us as community leaders can help determine the walkability of their community by using a walkability checklist. And we're encouraging children to walk to school if possible. So we have a resolution supporting that. And I also wanted to mention that we had our county audit exit interview. When was it?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? A week ago? Regardless, it was released yesterday, and we owe great congratulations to Julie Adkins and her staff. We got a clean audit, and in fact, the auditors commented that in their district, we were exemplary as far as the county audit goes. So I think that's important information for taxpayers to know, that from an audit standpoint, the auditor's department keeps us running a clean ship, and That's important for folks to know. So congratulations to Julie Adkins and her staff.
So walk to school or work, you guys have a meeting in Fremont, so you better get up and leave a little bit early. On October 2nd, just saying.
Solid Waste District that
Yeah,
is.
solid waste district, yeah.
I'll pick you up on the way, Tony.
You have 7 miles in, trying to get to me. Yeah.
Okay, old business.
So,
We have tabled FAA comment, and so I would accept the motion to bring it off the table for discussion.
so move.
Second?
Roll call?
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes?
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. All right. So we have a deadline of tomorrow, or, well.
September 28th, which is Saturday.
Saturday, so, yeah, we need to get it in. So Tony, I think you've drafted something up. Do you want to read this for everybody's?
I'd like to make a couple comments.
Okay, sure.
So I have a few comments. Welcome, everyone. You know, we had I wrote some things down so I wouldn't forget it, so I just want to kind of follow my notes if that's okay. And then we'll end with the letter.
Okay.
So I want to thank all the citizens that commented on this matter this past week. You know, we voted last week to take a week and kind of all of us get our heads around what kind of comment we may want to make back to the FAA. So for me personally, I have not only read all the comments that were sent to me to become better informed, but as I mentioned, I read a pile of information specifically related to the FAA, aviation issues, and how that pertains to wind turbines. I've talked to the county's consultant with regards to this matter by phone, how it may or may not impact aviation. In addition, I had a long conversation with Brad Newman out at the airport, our airport manager, and so I feel a little more comfortable today than I did a week ago regards to this. You know, as we discussed last week, there's a process for all this to play out. So we don't make the laws here as commissioners, but we have a process. And as part of the process, we have the right to submit comments. What happens after that ultimately will be decided by the Ohio Power Siting Board. But we do have a seat at the table to make our case. And so the process with the FAA allows for public comment. This gets confusing, but I'm going to try to break this down how I see it with the FAA, and then I'll make my final comments. But it's not our job to interpret what the FAA does. Our job is to just get them information. They have the final say. They will take a look at our testimony, they're going to look at other information, they're going to look at other testimony, they're going to take all this into consideration. Both sides have submitted testimony. I look at it as very similar to our daily legal system. You know, you think it's this, I think it's that. If we can't agree, we go to a jury and then they decide. So some people, interpret things one way, some interpret the other way. It's not our job as commissioners necessarily to interpret the law, but to voice our concerns. That's where I'm coming from with my testimony here. There are 4 parts, my understanding, to an FAA study. I did not know this until last week. So there's, first part is the airspace navigation. And that is, 3,000 feet and above, we are controlled by air traffic control, that's controlled airspace. These turbines do not impede general flying above 3,000 feet. That's been determined and released by the FAA. So that's, that comment back from them, number one, is already happened. Number two, they're gonna comment on Part 77, which is the obstacles that may or may not impede our runway. Part 77 basically reads, from the FAA, if it's 14,000 feet from the center of the runway out either side, and they're in the way, that could be an issue. From what we can tell so far, under Part 77, they haven't ruled on this yet, but it doesn't appear that there are obstacles out there. Now, on number 3 and 4, I think this is where I have concerns. And number 3 is called, the FAA calls these TERPs, T-E-R-P-S, Terminal En Route Procedures. Number 4 are flight procedures. So now you're in an airplane, you're flying, there's weather, you make landings, instrument approach, you have missed approaches, you gotta take off, you gotta come back around. All these kind of things have not been ruled on by the FAA. So we are concerned about that. We do not want our minimums to be raised here at the Scent County Airport for numerous reasons. So, you know, I've cited that basically in this letter, referring back to what Brad Newman mentioned about TERPs and flight procedures, takeoff, landings. Crop dusting, farmers, VFR flying under visual flying rules on a clear day. Have some concerns there, but the laws are basically, if you're flying under visual flying rules, the pilot has to know where these obstacles are and they have to stay away from them. It's not an ideal situation if you're used to not flying with these things around and all of a sudden they're around, or if you're a crop duster, but flying under visual flying rules is a little bit different. I'm going to get back to that here with EMS. I do have a concern about life flight. I'm going to call it emergency helicopter aircraft. We have an EMS director. It's his opinion that these towers will not impact our ability to provide service. His philosophy is we're going to get there no matter what the conditions are. That's my job. We're going to get called, we're going to go out, we're going to help the people. You know, basically, I'm looking at that as he has a neutral position. Life Flight has a similar stance. You know, they're going to come when they can come, but if they can't come because of weather or minimums, they can't come. And that's an issue because under IFR conditions, if there are low ceilings, weather could be great. Might not be any rain, might not be any wind, just have some fog. If the ceilings are at a certain height, emergency helicopters won't be able to get in. I have a map here of a resident who's in the Seneca Wind. And this, I'm a visual guy, so everybody put up with me. This is his house right here. Somebody lives right there. And there's proposed 27 wind turbines within 2-mile radius of this guy's house. Whether it's legal or not legal, I have a hard time personally, I don't care who you are, you can't convince me that if these turbines weren't there and we had a helicopter issue, that it would not be, you know, of 100 trips by helicopter, if these weren't there versus being there, it's not going to make a difference. So I want the FAA to look at this to make sure that, and I've cited cited something in here on that, but I have a concern about it. And no, we don't have EMS saying we're not gonna go, and no, we don't have Lifeline saying we're not gonna go out there, but we clearly have information that under certain conditions, the helicopter wouldn't go out. So I've added that into my resolution. I've passed the copy out to everybody. So with that, we do have a letter that I've drafted, circulated.
Tony, can I add one thing here?
Yes.
From the standpoint of empirical data. You know, we have concern about Lifeline. This is kind of personal to me. My dad was supposed to be life-flighted, but couldn't because of low ceilings one day, a storm, July 2nd, 1999. And I would hate for this to we don't want to scare anybody, and that's not the purpose of this. But, you know, the fact is that had that helicopter been able to get here that day, he would have lived a whole lot longer because it was a stroke situation and Mercy really didn't know how to handle it. So let me, you know, I like to deal in empirical data as well. And the fact is, from a Reader's Digest standpoint, and this is from Mercy St. Vincent's Medical Center, signed by Mike Conrad, who is the director of Mercy Health's Lifeline Network. So this isn't just stuff we make up. This is fact. And what it says is, as pilots, they must determine obstacles along the route of flight and must also identify the highest one to be able to clear it by 300 foot during the day or 600 foot at night, while also staying 500 foot below the cloud ceiling level. So there is no misinterpretation of this. If we have a turbine that is 640, 650 feet in the air, they have to clear it by 500 feet in the evening. So, you know, easy math is that's 1150. And they also have to be 1,000 foot below the ceiling. So if that ceiling is 2,000 feet or less, or, you know, we can do the numbers all you want, the fact is they're not going to fly because the regulations won't allow them to do that. So, again, not to scare anyone, but all it needs to do is happen once, right? One time, if it's your family, is plenty. And if that's one time out of 1,000 or one time out of 5,000, it doesn't matter. You know, Tony showed the map of these turbines in one person's area. The fact is that it's bad enough that they can't fly when the weather is bad. But if we exacerbate that problem by not allowing them to flight because of obstacles, that multiplies the number of times they can't get to an individual. And we all know that in many accident situations, minutes make a big difference. If triage doesn't happen, if people aren't attended to immediately, if we have to put them in a wheeled ambulance and take them 2 miles down the road or 5 miles down the road, anything can happen in that period of time. So I'm telling you from a personal experience standpoint that if the white flight could have been there, it would have been the probability of recovery would have been much greater than if they couldn't. So that is my concern, that I don't want to add another obstacle to the ability. And you know, this is not a scare tactic. This is the fact that it may only happen once, but if it's your family, that's 100% of the time, right?
Tony, if you want to read your letter, and then kind of the way we've operated on these issues that people are interested in, you know, I have a few comments, and then we'll ask anybody if they have any comments. Are you guys okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Go ahead and read the entire thing.
Okay.
So, since there are people here.
Last time I jumped around, it was a little confusing. Yeah, this letter's addressed to the FAA, to whom it may concern. The Senate County Commissioners have authority over the Senate County Airport. The Senate County Airport has a Federal Aviation Administration approved master plan to extend the airport runway and has been working with the FAA and the Ohio Department of Transportation for many years regarding this project. Over the last 10 years, approximately $3.2 million of federal, state, and local money has been spent on various infrastructure improvements at the airport. This project will allow larger aircraft to use our county airport, consequently providing a better county asset to be used by prospective and current area businesses, universities, and other groups. Some of the proposed turbines will not only adversely affect the current operations of the airport, but will also adversely affect our Seneca County Airport expansion plans. The board is also has concerns with the wind turbine project as it relates to Federal Aviation Regulation 135.615. This regulation likely would become more difficult to adhere to the industrial wind turbines, leading to potential negative impact on ambulance rescue operations. The Seneca County Board of Commissioners supports the airport manager Brad Newman's position opposing the construction of the industrial turbines that would, quote, obstruct the operations of the airport in any way that would interfere with VFR and IFR approach operations, as stated in his September 18th letter to the FAA and ODOT.
Nikki, can you put up the map, I think it's page 7 of the aeronautical study? And I want to emphasize what
Typo, Jimmy.
Commissioner Paradiso said. I think it's page 17. Yeah. We have spent a lot of money making sure that pilots have safety. We were removing trees. We just removed a power stub. We went back down, I think, is that figure. So one of the questions that's been raised is on the approaches. And we do absolutely want to protect our approaches emphatically. And this is the NBD 24 approach, which is non-directional beacon. It's kind of an antiquated approach in that a lot of aircraft don't even have the equipment to follow this approach. So I just want to illustrate that on the very fringe of that trapezoid, which would be the southeast corner, there's 2 wind turbines that penetrate that surface. In the aeronautical study, that's the only impact that we're aware of. Nothing else has been determined. So, those 2 are problematic on the NBD approach, which again, most pilots aren't shooting that. They're shooting the other approach, which, can you go up to the GPS 24 approach? Yes. So that's the GPS 24 approach. It's narrower. So if you're landing into the southwest, into the wind, as you can see, no planned turbines in there, protected airspace, and that's the primary approach for pilots with modern equipment. So I just want to, make sure that pilots know that our core approach is unadulterated, and no project is planned in that footprint. And so we absolutely want to protect this space, and at this point it looks like there's nothing infringing on the GPS approach.
Okay, I think that the key phrase there is at this point. If I was smart enough, I'd be able to overlay other projects that are out there that haven't filed for approval, but are pending. And if there were other projects to the northeast and to the northwest, you would see that there are a number of proposed turbines within that area as well.
Outside of that 10-mile
Okay.
approach.
But into the future, the question is, at what point do we say no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
agree.
if we're gonna add, if we're gonna add anything into that pattern, northeast, northwest, or west, at what level of, when do we begin to have a concern? These are on the outskirts of an approach. Now, if it gets narrower, at what point do we say no? So.
Yeah, anytime it infringes on that GPS, I think, I mean.
And I think
boy,
there are, and I'm pretty doggone sure that there are proposed projects out there that do indeed do that. I would have
I
to-
think those FAA studies have already been done. and
Yeah,
they're-
but these haven't been submitted for approval yet. These are proposed projects where land leases are out there, but there hasn't been any sighting of any of the turbines at this point. I mean,
Well,
there are folks up to the northeast and to the northwest who have signed land leases.
Yeah, I guess I was talking about the Republican.
Yeah, if you're talking specifically about Republic Wind,
Okay.
you're absolutely right.
Well, I
But
think
if you
this
overlay-
is, this is S-Power, this.
Right, well, he's
Yeah.
projecting into the future, but you're right, I agree with you, we defend that better.
So I agree, but what's not been done is, the TERPS procedures study by the FAA has not been done.
That's right,
And neither is a procedure study.
that's right.
So, you know, let's let them do their job.
Yeah,
And there might be things, and I think the other thing the FAA does is they take our letter, but they take everybody else's feedback, pro and against, and they lay it out, and they have a puzzle that they look at. But I think we need to let them do the job. We're just letting the FAA know that we have concerns about this.
Well, the other thing I think that it's
And
important
it
to
would
mention.
affect us.
Yeah, the other thing that's important to mention is that the FAA restrictions don't become looser as time goes on. They become more restrictive. And if the runway expands and those approaches are longer or wider, that puts more of the turbines in puts the pilot in more harm's way with the turbine as time goes on. So this isn't going to be cured by the fact that the FAA is going to say, okay, you've got a more narrow approach if you want it. The fact is, they're going to expand it as they have many times since I've been here. That the widths have to be wider, the heights have to be higher.
You go higher and you have to fly out farther to come in. It's just, higher you go, you have greater chance of icing, a lot of things, when you're flying a plane in odd weather under IFR conditions. And if the county were forced to raise their minimums for their approach, it would be a big deal.
yeah. We don't have any information on that.
We don't have information, I'm not saying that that's how it would go, but it could, so that's my position.
There is another map for the Fostoria Airport, but it doesn't get there as well, so. All right, so if there's anybody who'd like to make a comment, I would, just state your name for the record and where you live.
Jim Fiesel, Eden Township. Just a quick question. Do we know for a fact that these approach maps will remain constant if we get our long-awaited airport runway expansion? And shouldn't that be something we should really be looking into?
I don't have any.
There's no empirical data, but I mean, logic would tell you that if you have a longer runway, that the flight patterns would be longer and the approaches would be wider. That would be logic to me, but I don't know that to be true.
So what I'm hoping, Jim, is we have filed, we have an approved, active plan with the FAA to extend our runway. We've acquired the land at the end of the runway, we, the county. They know, we know, we're in constant conversation with them that this is where we're headed. Okay, so I mentioned that here, and I would hope that the FAA, as they make their determination on their, if I get the right word, procedures, their SERPs, that they take all that into consideration. But I don't know that. But it's not like we don't have it's not like we don't have an active airport and we're saying, oh, we want to expand our runway someday. That's not the case. We spent a lot of money so far, and we're in the middle of a plan to do that. So I think,
So we would hope that the FAA would calculate new approach maps before making a decision on these wind projects, based on a longer runway that's in the plans.
I don't know how they would go about it, or they would, yeah, I don't know, right?
Any other questions? Okay, it's a letter. I don't think we really need a vote, but I'm gonna go ahead and just put it on the roll call, and so we can get it on record.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes?
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. All right. Also, under old business, we have the RUMA. Are we ready to bring that off the table, or we need a little more time on that?
We're not ready to act on it, but you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I don't have any further comments.
I don't right now.
All right.
Mike, do you want to talk about anything?
Well, I just want to say that since the time that we've talked about this, there's been a lot of correspondence and a lot of back and forth with a lot of folks. And again, as with Life Flight, I kind of like to deal with real data, no conjecture, just what's really happening out there. And Logan County and Hardin County, who are basically our neighbors, right, Hardin County has done a version of Logan County's original RUMA. And, you know, I don't remember the exact numbers we talked about with Mark, but I think it was 150,000, or 50,000 during the construction process and 150,000 at the end, something like that. Just to quantify it a bit, the Hardin County folks are proposing $375,000 during construction versus 50,000. And they're proposing somewhere in the $500,000 range with a maximum of $3 million per road mile for, for the rebuild if it's necessary, along with all kinds of legalese. But they consider that to be reasonable. I know Mark's concern was that it needed to be reasonable. And if we've got two basically neighboring counties who are 4 or 5 times more than we are from the dollar amount for the bond, I think we got to give that some significant consideration. So I would not be in favor of the RUMA that Mark has proposed with the numbers that he has. I'm fine with that RUMA for typical construction contracts. If you're building a factory, if you've got a one-time building that's necessary for economic development, whatever the case might be, I think that'll work out fine. But if you're talking about a project that has 30, 40, 50 specific construction sites over the course of a couple of years, that's not it's not anything that we've ever been through before. So therefore, the RUMA that we have shouldn't be anything that we've been through before. And the numbers that we're talking about here, 375,000, 500,000, I think are certainly more reasonable to talk about. I don't know if those will be the final numbers, but I can tell you that I've reviewed 5 or 6 road use maintenance agreements now. None of them are less than 300,000 a mile for these projects, whether they be in Ohio or other places. And many of them, even in the RUMA themselves, try to suggest that the setback ought to be a mile. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
The good news is that we don't really have any rush to make a decision about this because we've got a number of other issues that we got to take care of, whether it be education or whether it be maintenance of the arrangements for emergency training and those kind of things all have to happen prior to anything getting approved. None of which have.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, I don't want to kick this down the road and not act on it. I mean, I think we need to keep it moving forward, so I'm good with that. I'm just not prepared to act on it. I've been gathering a lot of information, and I'll continue to do that, but I think when we're ready, then we're ready. And I don't anticipate this, Mike, being, I don't think it's going to be next year or anything, but.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is rid us of opinion and talk about data, talk about empirical data, where other people ended up on these projects, and the fact is that I have found none that is as quote-unquote lenient as the one that we had proposed for the county. So I think that we need to give some serious consideration to the thought process that our neighbors went through when they came up with their maintenance agreement.
Okay, so that remains tabled. Social media policy, I just wanted to bring this up. I think this is implied, but we may need to clarify it. We put in a social media commenting policy in for Facebook, and it talks about a person can make a comment here. One of the things that has brought to my attention is that, you know, there may be some accounts out there that aren't people or are people hiding behind the names. And so, you know, just, you know, starting with you, Mike, when Holly was attacked anonymously and then when you were attacked anonymously, I think we said, you know, say what you need to say, but just say it under your own name. So we just wanted to strengthen that policy as it regards to troll accounts or bots or people who aren't people. So.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to refer that to maybe the technology committee for them to review and come up with some recommendations, if that makes sense. I'm not
More of a
a
countywide
Facebook
thing.
guy, so I don't know.
I'm not a Facebook guy, I'm on that committee, so I admit it. We would probably seek other advice, but, yeah, I mean, you know, that's the thing, when you have a policy, and we've all seen social media, and some of these anonymous reviews, you know, negative reviews or fake accounts, and I mean, I don't even know how you prove it, how you go about
Well,
it.
the letter to the editor policy is, you know, you can ask for the name and their address. And
We're
the
not
phone number.
censoring anything, we're
No.
trying to uncover.
Just want people to be transparent.
Yeah.
And we've said that a number of times. I mean, we had a problem where somebody represented themselves as Mike in the Power Sighting Board comments.
So
You
it's
know?
That's right. I had checks and balances, spent about $40,000 or $50,000 trying to make sure I didn't get elected. And as I told them, I appreciate it, because they wanted to move the needle, and they did. I got more votes than I did the last time.
And what we said at that time is, hey, if you have something to say it, but tell me who you are.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, that's.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, I mean, I don't know, I don't have the solution.
Yeah.
So we can bring
I think
it up.
it's implied, but I just want to make sure that we can have a way to strengthen
You wanna
that.
bring it up, Stacy, can we bring it up at the,
Okay, IT committee?
yeah, just send them a report back, I don't know.
Good luck
See
with
what
that.
they say. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But I would absolutely do that.
So,
I've got a question.
okay.
Yeah.
Richard Miller, Venice Township. I hear you guys talk about a lot of money, a very lot of money. How many houses in the wind turbine area is gonna be a lot more money than that you're gonna affect? I hope that you people can get together and help us fight these people. And I'm talking to you, Shane. You know, we've got probably millions and millions of dollars in property and out there, the people, houses, farms, whatever they got, businesses. That should be taken into consideration too. And I'm 100% with you about the airport, but I'm 100% with our union about our houses and so on and so forth.
Property values.
Private.
Well, we have interrogatories, and we will have some depositions taken about again, that's why I'm trying to emphasize the empirical data, the factual data as much as possible, because, you know, when you sit down for an interrogatory or a deposition, you can't say, I think and I feel. You have to say, this is the way that it is. So what we're trying to do at this point, Mr. Miller, is mount enough evidence, actual data, that we can use to show that. Now, as you know, there are a number of studies, Rutgers being one of them, that show decreased values in real estate, right? But there are also a number of studies funded by, I'm not sure who, that show the values are even or better. So, you know, you have to, I mean, it is what it is. Whatever's out there, you have to use as your basis for factual information. So, but I've got, you know, 10, 12 articles written by people that are professionals that say that there's a significant decrease in value between 15 and 50%, choose one. But I also have articles in there that the studies indicate that the values are a push or better. So, you know, we just have to go with the overwhelming data that we have and try to make a case for what we believe to be true.
Okay, thank you for that. Health savings account. So annually, we have been contributing county funds into the health savings account for the employees of the county. And it's approaching open enrollment time.
Right.
And last year, what did we make as a HSA contribution?
for individual and family.
Yeah.
It was $750 for individual and $1,500 for family.
So we have moved everybody to a high deductible plan, asking them to manage their own health and making a health savings account available to them. And then to help offset that cost in the health savings account, we've contributed to HSA.
Do we front and load that? Do we do that the first of the year? Is it, our contribution?
Yeah, the biggest chunk comes out at the beginning of the year, but if a new employee comes on, they
Yeah,
get prorated,
right.
but yes.
But anybody that's an employee of
Yep,
the
we do it
county.
right at the
Yeah.
beginning of the year, like the third weekend.
So
Need to approve it.
we need to approve the dollar amounts we're gonna contribute to the HSAs, and we need to figure out how to fund it. My suggestion is that we're gonna get some money back, so to speak, because we're going to have a premium holiday. And, people have our employees have been doing a really good job of managing their own health. We've got a good renewal, so that's gonna save the general fund some money, maybe half of what we'd have to contribute into the HSA. So I would like to earmark that money back to the employees. And I think the Health Insurance Committee has a recommendation for us.
Yes, they recommended sticking to the $750 and $1,500.
Okay, I was so moved with that.
Yeah,
Second.
I'm on that committee, I'm second.
Roll call. Any other discussion?
We're good?
Commissioner Teresa?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. All right, new business. Law library appointment. So the Attorney General has determined that County Commissioner can't be on the Law Library Resource Board. I've served there, Nutters served there, I don't know who served before you, but Fred was on
Fred
it.
was on it.
So we've always had a commissioner on it. New Attorney General opinion. Derek reviewed that opinion and concurred. So we need to replace myself off the Law Library Resource Board. And so I have a nomination.
It's not me.
So Jimmy Flint, I think, would make a great addition to the Law Library Resource Board.
Second, brother.
Roll call.
Commissioner Teresa?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes, congratulations, Jimmy. It's a 5-year commitment.
Oh. I actually got a joke.
It's actually not a commitment, it's a sentence.
It's a sentence.
They meet-
But I do thank everybody who serves on that board. They volunteer their time, they take it very seriously, and we've resurrected the law library. It has a new home over above the health, by the health department in that building, in the CSB building. We've got a great director over there, and Susan Howard. So if there's, if you need law resources, she's more than happy to help. She's not acting as a practicing attorney, but she can give you resources and send you in the direction. So our local attorneys use it, the judges use it, citizens use it. So it's very important. I think one member is appointed by the common pleas judge, prosecutor, and municipal court judge. Is that? There's like 4 or 5 representatives. So anyways, thank you, Jimmy. Congratulations. On with new business.
Okay, I have a supplemental appropriation for the Sheriff's Office Impaired Driving Fund, or Enforcement Fund, Fund 1220. They're doing a sub-app for their transfers outline, $497.59, and this is to close out that fund. I have a resolution accepting the bid and entering into contract with Erie Blacktop Incorporated for the taxiway pavement rehabilitation project on behalf of the Seneca County Airport. The bid amount for that was $345,797.57. Just because of the season we're in, their date's going to be starting in the spring, and not try to push it in yet this year. And then I have a resolution authorizing the disposal of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit county-owned property. It's a 1996 four-wheel coach ambulance on behalf of the Seneca County EMS. Sheriff's Office was nice enough to list it for us on Gov Deals, and we got $6,550.
All right.
Is that in your revenue number, Mike?
That goes back to EMS.
We have to, we'll sell our stuff.
That's all I have.
All right. Motion to approve new business. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope, I think, I just want to note that this $345,000 for paving is part of our federal money, and that we, the county, pay 5% of that. So, federal government pays 90, ODOT pays 5, and we pay 5. And this is all part of our ongoing airport initiative, the $345,000 taxi project.
Yeah, we'll have to pull that out of the general fund and front the project, and then we'll get reimbursed.
I thought we were making those contingent on receiving funding.
As long as it's approved, but we've always had to pay out and get
Spring.
reimbursed.
We would do it in the spring, right?
Yep.
All right, roll call.
Commissioner Cardoso?
Yes.
Commissioner Krischner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. We have an executive session on for land acquisition or acquisition of property.
Pending litigation.
Pending litigation. Any opposition to having public comments before
No,
we go in?
no. Go ahead.
Okay, public comments. Yes.
Cindy Lee, Venice Township, but here as president of Seneca County Project Lifesaver on behalf of the sheriff, the Lions in Seneca County Fund Project Lifesaver. We've been here before talking to you about Project Lifesaver. If you weren't here, basically it's putting a transmitting bracelet on people that tend to wander due to Alzheimer's, dementia, autism. When they go missing, the sheriff then puts in the code on their transmitter, and they go out and find them. Fortunately, in Seneca County, they've only been called out once. Didn't really have to use it because they found the person before they even got the transmitters going. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen sometime. We are having a drive to give at Reineke Motors on Tuesday, October 1st from 3:30 to 7. You come out, sign in, take a test drive in a brand new Lincoln. I don't know if it's gonna be a 2020 or what they've got out there. Come back in, tell us your opinion. We get another $10, so we have the opportunity to make up to $8,000 next Tuesday. Equipment is not cheap. Just the transmitting bracelet is, I think, $500 or more. If you can come out, bring along a couple friends, you have food out there, and anything we make that day, Reineke and Lincoln Ford gives back to us.
Yeah, I might add, I did that, I think it was last year.
Yeah, we've done it a couple
There's
times.
no sales pressure. Nobody's trying to, talk you into buying anything. It's simply a drive, come back, have some nachos and go home.
I believe I heard the sheriff comment that there are 18 of these bracelets out in our county, and and
Yeah.
it's a good thing. We can keep.
Yeah, because you
whoever
never
needs
know.
them, you know,
Right.
Right.
And it's not a constant, just get on and find out where you are. He only gets in and puts that code in when he's notified that you're missing.
Yeah.
So it's not Big Brother watching you all the time.
Okay.
And there is a spot on there, if you're not a board person, that we can mark that says, don't send me any information. So don't be afraid if you're not a board person.
Thank you for
Thank
your work
you.
on this.
Sure.
We had a rep come to the township meeting too the other night, so.
Yes.
so
Getting the word out.
Yeah, good job. Thank you.
Other public comments? Carolyn? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick, has there been any conversation with the sheriff's office on training officers to enforce this rumors at all?
I haven't had any conversations.
No,
I don't know if
I
Mark
kind of
will.
mentioned that earlier about the RUMA, that I know of no safety training or education that's part of the agreement. I've not heard of any of those two things happening, Chris.
Okay. There was a gentleman that spoke with us here not too long ago, and he was telling us that apparently the state's got some training programs that are available, and I guess there's like a portable scale or something they can weigh these trucks on. I don't know a whole lot about it, but apparently this is out there through ODOT.
Yeah.
So.
Good info.
That's a question I have for the sheriff when I meet
Right.
with him.
All right. Would he be here next week or something?
Yeah, actually I have it, but I'll highlight it.
Carolyn, anything from?
Not really, I'm Carolyn Dick, I'm with Congressman Jim Jordan's office in Norwalk, and just wanted to see what's going on in Tiffin.
Jim's had his face on the tube here.
Yes, that's why I don't want to be in the office answering phone calls. But we also do a lot with the constituents one-on-one, so if you ever have any issues with the VA or not getting a check with Social Security or IRS, please let us know. And,
Or if you go on to Washington and you might need a tour of the White House.
there you go.
Any
That
of those
too,
things,
that
yes.
too.
Carol, we are very fortunate to have Carolyn representing Congressman Jordan because she is very helpful with anything you might want to know from the House of Representatives. Seriously, if you're going to Washington and you want to get in to see Mr. Jordan or at least see some of the sites, call her and see what his schedule is.
With the White House or any of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, so take advantage of that.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
Anything else? Good with the cause? Steve, ever heard? I've never seen you for loss of words, so. Ben?
Nothing.
All right, we're gonna have an executive session. Motion to go into executive session to go for purpose of pending litigation and property acquisition. Second.
Yep.
Roll call.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Commissioner Percy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah, we will.